if you were discarded by or broken up with by a narcissist type person or a toxic person, that it's easy to feel sorry for yourself. But in reality, you actually got off lucky. So let's talk more about that concept, because I think it's an important recovery concept to understand. You actually are very lucky that you've been discarded by this person, and you've got a unique opportunity now to kind of change your life that you might not have. So just a basic point about this type of person, a toxic person or a narcissistic type person. I want to emphasize again, we're not diagnosing anyone in this video, nor are we saying that somebody is absolutely a narcissist or absolutely an empath. You know, we have relationships where we are empathic. We have relationships, even if we are empathic, where maybe we treat people in a toxic way or narcissistic way ourselves. So almost nobody is completely defined by this stuff. But as always, the important thing is, how did they treat you? And if they treated you in a toxic way, then that's important. So in any interaction that we have in life, when somebody shows you who they are, that's incredibly lucky. The cliche that you kind of hear a lot, or you see a lot of memes about it, is when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And that's great, that's true. But it's really when somebody shows you who they are, in my opinion, thank you. Thank you for showing me who you are, because it gives me the opportunity to make a more informed decision. And so let's jump into 3 reasons that you are lucky that the narcissist or toxic person, narcissistic type person, toxic type person has discarded you. And so the first one is that you're not the primary supply for this person. That's critical, right? Because a toxic person or a narcissistic type person lives their life seeking attention. It's kind of a whole different orientation towards life. And it's probably not your orientation towards life if you've been victimized by such a person. So you don't live out your entire life seeking attention. But this type of person often does. And one of the things that they're looking for is a primary supply of this attention. Now, you might have been that for some period of time. But now, if they've broken up with you, or they've discarded you in a mean way, they've decided you're not that person, at least right now. And part of what could make you that person is actually sort of accepting the treatment and seeking to take them back, or indicating that you're okay with how you were treated. That is a great way to win the audition for the role of primary supply for this person. So that's a super critical point to understand. Many times, this type of person who's discarded you is going to operate from kind of a base level of social proof that, for example, if it's a woman, they would probably want a husband. If it's a man, they would probably want a wife. That gives them credibility. That enables them to seek attention and look more socially credible. But very often, so that person's going to seek that out, get married. That's just their sort of base of operations. And then they can interchange the primary sources of supply throughout that, or secondary sources of supply. So if somebody's kind of auditioned you for this role and they broke up with you, great, because they don't see you as a fit for this long-term primary supply relationship that's a base of operations for them. And trust me, that is not something that you want. Who wants to be just kind of taken for granted their whole life by a person who just merely seeks attention and is selfishly motivated? Hopefully that's not something that you want. So count yourself lucky. What's a second reason that you're lucky? You've got a chance now to get away. So you've got an awesome chance You've been broken up with, you've been discarded. It was done in a mean way. It hurt. So that helped you to recognize that, wow, this wasn't healthy. Who would do something like that? There's always the kind of it's not you, it's me approach, which, kind of takes responsibility on you, but probably on the person who's breaking up, dumping. But probably if you've been broken up with by this person and you're hurt by it, that's not what happened. It is you, right? It's meant to personally hurt you. And so because that's hurt you so much and because you're in withdrawal so much, that caused you to recognize this wasn't a healthy interaction. This wasn't a healthy relationship. And now you're free to actually get away. And not only are you free to get away, but you didn't even have to break up with the person. So many times you could be in a more toxic type relationship like this or a narcissistic type relationship like this. And if you're kind of auditioning for the role of the primary supply and you win, you're going to have to be the one to break up with the person. And you're going to fear kind of what they're going to do to you if you do break up with them. So here, you've been broken up with, you've been discarded. Yes, it hurts, but wow, what a gift. In fact, I bet you're probably already noticing, you look at your phone and you don't have these messages, kind of seeking out your attention anymore. Awesome, right? I mean, that's just kind of a feeling of calm, of just like looking at your phone and just going, wow, I don't have any messages. Awesome. I can kind of live my life free. I don't have to kind of tend to this person's needs. So provided you can kind of break the cycle here, what an awesome opportunity to get away. Believe me, you should take it. In fact, if they do reach out, you've got to be prepared to kind of ignore or push off. So think about, we'll talk more about that in another video, but think about how you might do that if it does happen. And what's a third reason that you're lucky? Well, if you resolve to learn from the experience, now you can go out and seek an actual real connection with somebody. So here you had a connection that likely was tailor-made for you by a person with narcissistic tendencies, toxic tendencies, and they attempted to kind of discern the person that they imagined that you wanted them to be. And they did the best possible job they could in creating that. I mean, it's kind of like a low-level acting job. It kind of fundamentally comes from an overall insecurity that no one would accept this person as they are. So they're always kind of creating little different, slightly different characters for each little person or interaction. So they've created this just for you, but the thing is that requires a lot of energy because to be another person, that requires so much energy. So they are kind of tired of it, and that's part of why they've discarded you. But depending on your situation, you may be able to still, I hope not, I hope you can totally get away, but maybe if you work with them or you know some of the same people, you'll be able to see them in their own social circles or whatever and understand that the person that you see, say 6 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now, you'll understand that's a totally different person than the person that you knew in your relationship. The person that you knew in your relationship actually has now evaporated completely. It's just lost to the ages, basically. It was created primarily for you, and now it's gone. So it's not really anything, when you really step back from it, it's not really anything to be upset about because the person that you probably loved, and you might even still be kind of feeling, I'm in love with this person who broke up with me, that person, it's very likely isn't real. The person that you liked so much or loved so much is not actually real. And now you can actually seek out somebody who just shows up authentically who they are. Sure, they're going to put on a little bit of a best self when they first meet you, but over time that's going to deepen. That best self is going to kind of recede, and they're just going to be their true self with you. You can be your true self with them, And isn't that what we're all looking for? So now that you can kind of recognize that you don't really want somebody to create that perfect identity, you're not really looking for the perfect person that is created basically out of that love bombing phase from the beginning, which we talked about in the last video, link in the description. So when they were love bombing you, they were asking you all those questions. That was the process to be able to build this perfect person that they're going to be for you, right? Think about it, really. I mean, do you fall in love by asking questions? I don't know. I don't know the right answer. I'm no expert, but it seems unlikely, right? It's just like question, right answer, question, right answer, question, right answer, question, right answer. Oh, I'm in love now. Is that how that works? I don't think so. So let's review these 3 reasons you're lucky. Look, you're not the primary supply. This person has kind of auditioned you for the role. They know maybe that you won't be able to take it, or they're getting tired of playing this fake character. So congratulations, you're not the primary supply. Second reason you're lucky, you've got a chance to get away. What an awesome opportunity. If you've been broken up with, you don't even have to break up with them. You've been given your freedom. Look at your phone. It's not full of messages seeking your attention. You don't have to deal with them complaining about their ex or whatever was the primary thing that they were getting from you, that just kind of emotional outlet. They were really just seeking your attention and kind of that loving attention. That's how they, when they love bombed you, they got you to kind of see them lovingly. And so they were getting not only attention, but a really loving attention. But now you can get away from that. And didn't that take a lot of energy to give all that attention all the time? You're probably just so exhausted. Hey, that's over. That is over. So congrats. And the third reason you're lucky is that if you resolve to learn from the experience, now you can seek a real connection. So you kind of know what a fake connection feels like. It's this toxic type, narcissistic type thing that's invented out of love bombing and a series of questions to create a fake self. And as that mask slips and you catch on to it, it doesn't really feel as good. It feels amazing in the beginning, but it's not something that will last. So let's kind of recap the 5 steps that we keep emphasizing here in this recovery process. It's forgive yourself. Forgive yourself that you weren't in a place where you were able to reject this person's advances initially, but take responsibility. You knew the red flags were there and proceeded. So you had a voice telling you, whoa, this is wrong, but you went ahead. So take some responsibility. Like we already talked about in the reasons you're lucky, you're going to resolve to learn. Now you can seek a real connection, and you also can kind of recognize more what a more toxic type or narcissistic type connection is. You're going to take care of yourself, eat, exercise, socialize. Don't feel sorry for yourself. And lastly, this process of being discarded and this process of kind of, for a more empathic person, of being rejected is one of self-examination. It's one of introspection. It's one of rumination and reflecting. Great. That's how you learn, I think, is processing it and really going back and reviewing the scenes of the relationship and understanding what they really were. They weren't what you thought. They're actually just kind of fake. Sort of like watching like a thriller type movie where the ending doesn't make sense and you wonder, I didn't really understand that. Should I watch it again? The answer is no. Don't watch it again. It was a bad movie. If the ending didn't make sense, it's because none of the storylines through the beginning made sense. So the ending was just not well thought out. Just like your relationship. It never really made sense. So of course the ending doesn't make sense. But don't watch the movie again. That'd be a big mistake. If you're ruminating on why it ended, etc., remember, keep that to yourself. Write it down, send an email to yourself, maybe talk to friends about it, seek a professional therapist, whatever you need to do. But do not reach out and contact this person. It just gives them a chance to not respond, or it gives them a chance to toy with you again. It may even somehow convince them to, quote, take you back, which is your worst case scenario. I hope you're realizing that now as you're going through the process. It's an actual worst case scenario to get them back, because They were just seeking your attention. It's not love. It's not anything worth having. And in the end, they were just trying to hurt you. And they'll look to hurt you more to see if they can. And that could be how they could audition you for more of a role of like a primary type supply. So I hope this was helpful. If you have additional thoughts in the comments, I'd love to respond to those. And stay tuned for similar videos on this type of abuse. Thanks for watching.